All right, final episode 8. This is where we are going to be creating a game manager as well as a special singleton class called the GameControl. And I'm going to explain how that works in this video. It's going to be finalizing things because the idea again is game managers are going to be controlling your level, but the game control is going to be used to store data across all of your different holes across all the scenes. And so it's really important that, again, with these two scripts, that you code them exactly the same way as I do to make sure everything works going forward. All right, so let's get started. All right, so first thing first in this, what we're going to be doing is we need to quickly do a minor fix. So the console's referencing a missing behavior script, and this is something I had and then I deleted, you saw in the last video, but we're just going to fix it on the prefab. So in your UI canvas prefab that you brought in, open that up quick, double click it, and now we're editing the prefab. And down here you're going to see on the canvas is a missing script. Just remove that component. Now if I exit out of this with this button here, it will save that and we will no longer have that problem. We'll press play and we shouldn't get any warnings or errors in the console. Everything should work just fine. And we're good. Okay, perfect. Now, right now, when I take a shot, the strokes don't update. It doesn't update when I score it in the hole here. We don't change scenes, and I know we only have one level right now. Nothing happens. We score it in the hole. It says, you win, way to go. Now we're going to actually do that. Okay, so first thing we want to do is we're going to right-click in our hierarchy, and we're going to create an empty, and this is going to be called the Game Space Manager. Okay, so there's your game manager there. We're going to move that up. I always like to have my game manager at the top, okay, of our scene. Now, in this game manager, we are going to be creating a script, a new script called Game Manager. Again, capital G, capital M, all one word. Create and add. All right, this game manager script we are going to be tackling in a few seconds. But before we do that, I want to also make what's called the game control. Okay, so we're going to right click, create empty. We're going to call this the game control. Okay, and this is going to be storing our data across the whole game. So we're going to add a component and we're going to call it new script and we're going to call it game control. Now, I should add that often the game manager is turned into the singleton, but because we are combining multiple projects together and multiple scenes together from all of you, it's important that we separate these two. But very often, some game designers do like to make the game manager a singleton. Now, what is a singleton? Really simply put, a singleton is a special static game control class where it allows you to store data across multiple scenes. So this game object and its script will not be destroyed from one scene to the next. So we can access it because it will be static from any other script, no problem. We don't have to make a special reference to it. It can be accessed from anything else in the rest of this game. So I'm going to show you how to create this first, and let's get into that. Okay, so it's called Game Control Model Behavior. It's going to be pretty straightforward, actually. It's not a very big script. So first we need to create a static reference. This is what's going to keep it make it available. So we got to make it public and static. It's going to make it available across. We're going to call it game control, not instance. That's not how we're going to do this. We're going to call it game control and just control. So this is how we're going to be accessing everything in this special singleton class, this game control class. And also, right now we only have a little bit of data that we want to persist throughout. So one thing's going to be public int, and that's going to be the course total score, and we're going to set that equal to 0 initially. Okay, and another one that we're going to be accessing from all of your levels is called, we're going to be creating what's called an array. So this is going to store all of your scores. So we need to use the square brackets here to indicate that I'm creating an integer array. I'm going to call this whole scores, and I'm going to set it to, you can leave it like that, but I actually want to declare the size of this. So we're going to go new int 25. So what that means, it's going to have 25 elements, and the index for each element starts at 0. So the indices will go from 0 to 24. So we've set these two up now. They are ready to go. It'll default all of those just to 0 currently. We'll update them later. Now we're going to be using a special function called the void awake. So this happens before the start function. So we want to do a few things in here. So first, what we're going to say is don't destroy on load. So that's because we want to keep it. And that's going to be this game object. Okay, so we don't want to destroy it. So also, we're going to create a quick check. So if control equals null, so if control does not exist, we're going to set the control to equal this, which means this class, okay, if it doesn't already exist. Now, after that, we need to do an else if. So what we'll do next is, so we'll do an else if control, okay, is not equal to this. Okay, so what this is going to be checking, this is otherwise check if the control instance is not this one, we're going to destroy it. So destroy game object. Okay, so this is a little bit complicated, but that's actually all we need. There's nothing else we need to be doing in this script. We are going to add one method. No, I could do that right now, actually. We will add the method, but that's it. This is what's going to make sure that this script with this game object, it stays throughout the entire game. And if there's one in the next scene, it will destroy it and make sure that this one continues to be in everyone's hierarchy from scene to scene. That's all it's doing. Now, I want to create a custom method in here that we're going to be utilizing. And that's going to be it. That's all we're going to do in here. So void int, and we're going to be, whoops, don't autofill like that. Okay, let's try that again. Sorry, not private. That's why we need to do public. Okay, and instead of void, we're going to be returning an int on this. Okay. So void we use a lot, but we're going to call this update total score. Okay, and we're putting this in this singleton because this is where we're going to store all the scores across all the different scenes or holes. And it's really easy to do this. It's only going to take 2 lines of code. So we're going to set the course total score to equal holes scores. And the way this works is we have a method just called sum. And sum, of course, adds them all up. So all the scores will be added. Of course, they all initialized as 0, so this will return 0 for now. And it's still showing its red underline here because I have to return that course total score. So all we're doing is creating a sum, and we're going to update this total score. We're going to be using this method when we win the hole. Okay, that's our game control. It's done. There's nothing else we need to do on there. There's nothing to test either. Right now it is showing namespace end of file. Oh, I'm just missing on line 35. Oh, what did I miss there? Oh, I'm missing a curly bracket, I think. That opens, closes. Oh, I got one too many. There we go. Perfect. Okay, now that's good to go. Let's open up the game manager. We got to do a little bit more in there because the game manager is what we're going to use to update all of these score texts. Okay. It's going to update the strokes, it's going to update the whole number, and so on. So let's go open that up right now. So let's go to our game manager. We're going to open this up and get things going. First, we need to implement a couple things. We need to be using this is basically going to access the Unity engine, and we need to, because we're going to be controlling the scenes, we need the scene management library of methods, and we're also going to be using TM Pro, which we have done previously. So we need access to the Text Mesh Pro methods as well. All right, now we got to create a few things in here. So the first thing we're going to be setting up is a public int, and that's just going to be the whole number. It's going to store the whole number. We can default that to 0. Next, we need access to the golf ball controller script. So we're going to set that up, golf ball controller, and set that to golf ball controller. So we're going to declare that in the inspector. And we're going to do 4 Text Mesh Pros that we need to be having access to. Okay, so bear with me here, but they're all going to be public. So public text mesh pro, and you want the Text Mesh Pro UGUI. Okay, and the first one we're going to call that current whole number text. Okay, next one, I'm actually just going to copy paste this 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and change these names. So this next one's going to be called current whole shots text. So I'm just going to go and edit that. Okay, current whole shots text. The next one is actually going to be an array because this is where we're going to store all of our hole scores for each individual hole. So we're going to go whole score texts, plural, because that's going to be storing them all. And the next one right here, our last one, is going to be course total score text. So these are all the texts in the UI that you added that we're going to be updating via our golf ball controller and this game manager as well. Okay, so in the start, first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to get our course total score text and update that using the game controller. Okay, so here's how this game control works. What's nice is I can just start writing and you can see game control shows up right away. Now that's not what I'm going to type in first. What I want to be updating is the course total score text. So a lot of what we're doing in this method is just changing text. Now to change the text, I need to go dot text, and I'm going to set that equal to game control dot control. So every time I want to access anything in here, I got to go game control dot control, because game control is the game object and control is the class, or sorry, game control is the class and control is that static variable that we created. Now control, now I can have access to everything inside of it. So update total score method, that one we created. Now that returns an int, but I need it to be a string, so we're going to go to string. Okay, and that's going to, when this when the level initializes, it's going to update the total score. Okay, and we'll go into the inspector after this, but we'll get everything coded. So let's keep going here. Also, we need to update the whole number. Now that whole number, what's going to be nice is we're going to use the scene index to do that. So we're going to go scene manager dot get active scene. Okay, and that's a method, and then we want the build index. Okay, now that's our whole number, and now we can set current whole number text dot text to equal, just like we did before. This is going to be the whole number dot to string. Okay, all right. Now, one thing that should be this, I believe, will be new for a lot of you, but if you have experience coding, we're going to be using what's called a for loop. Okay, so a for loop allows you to iterate through an array really quickly and easily to update its values. Okay, so we're going to use this for loop, and the setup for it is often very similar, and it knows exactly what I want to do. I do want to so let me break this down. So for loop, how it works is we have an index number always starting at 0. We set that to I. Now, while I is less than the whole score length text.length, which is going to be 25. So if it's less than that, it's going to it'll keep running this loop of code until it gets above 25. Okay, or sorry, once it hits 25. And this is going to increase the I value by 1 for each iteration of this for loop. Now, what do we want to happen in this for loop? It's only one line of code. So we're going to take the whole score text, okay, that array, and I'm going to access each of its elements by using the I value. So it's going to start at 0 and go all the way to 24 because there's 25 index. And I'm going to access its text because we're storing a whole bunch of Text Mesh Pro text in there. And we're going to set that using the GameControl .whole scores. Okay, and this is where what I'm going to be accessing is I again. So I'm going to be referencing that, and I need to send that to a string. So what is this doing? What this will do, and we'll see, especially when I have all your levels put together, it's going to update all of the holes, all the whole scores in the UI. So if I pop back here, this UI here, let's get the UI on the screen. Okay, so all of this. This panel on the left. Let's focus on the left panel. It's going to update all of these numbers. Okay, and we're going to be referencing that. So it's going to grab all the scores and update them right at the start of each level. So this way we'll keep track of all of our scores while you complete each hole in our GameControl static singleton. Okay, so let's go back to here. That's what this for loop is going to do right at the start. And that's all we need in the start method. Now we're going to create three custom methods. Our first one's going to be called, so we're going to go public, void, and it's going to be called update score. Okay, so this update score method is going to be really simple. In the update score method, we're going to take the current whole shots text. So this is our current whole shots text, and .text, we're going to be updating this. And this is where we're going to go to our golf ball controller .shots taken. We're going to get access to that variable and of course send that to a string. So this is going to update our strokes in the UI. So everything we're doing in here is basically controlling the UI and storing things in our singleton. Our next one is going to be public as well. And this is going to be called win hole. So what do we want to have happen when we win the hole? So in the win hole script, we're going to be doing GameControl .control. So that accesses the singleton, and we're going to go whole scores. And I want to make sure I'm accessing the correct hole. So this is where we're going to use hole number -1, because remember, the index starts at 0. So if it's hole number 1, that's technically index 0. So I got to subtract 1 from it. And we're going to set that equal to score. Okay. Oh, I forgot something. Whoops. Oh, on the win hole, we do need an input of score. I was like, well, why is that not working? I forgot to put that in. Okay, so when we use the win hole, we're going to be putting in the score value. And we're going to be accessing, we're going to be utilizing this script in the golf ball controller in a moment here. Okay, what else do we want to have in the win hole? So win hole, we also want to have the whole score texts. And this is going to be the whole number again. Whoops. whole number -1 dot text. So this is going to give our whole score text, and we're going to set that to update to score dot toString. Okay, so that's going to update the score on the left panel, so that we'll see what our new score is on the left panel for the current whole. And now the last thing is we need to update the total score as well, and we have a method that does that. So we're going to take the course total score text dot text, and we're going to use again GameControl dot control dot update total score. Okay, and we need to send that to string as well. Boom, there we go. All right, now the next one is we're going to be invoking a method we haven't made yet. So let's make the method first. We're going to do an invoke here in a sec, so let's just store that with a comment. It's a good strategy to keep track of stuff. And our last method in here is public void, and this is going to be how we load the next level. So load next whole, we're going to call this method. And load next whole is really simple. We're going to take the scene manager, and we're going to access the load scene method, and all we need to enter in here is whole number plus 1. So because we don't want to reload the same whole, we want to load the next whole. So that's going to load the next scene, because you might wonder, well, that's not going to line up with the correct index, but the first scene is actually going to be a start screen that I'm going to create. So whole number here will match the index of the current scene. So we're just going to add 1 to that. Now we're going to use this invoke method. And I think what I like to have happen is I could call that method right away, but I'm going to use the invoke function, and what this allows me to do is I have to put in text load next whole. Make sure you type that perfectly, but it allows me to easily put a quick 2-second delay, because I do want us to have the ball land in there. You can see the scores update, and then it's going to load the next level. Okay, that's everything for coding in this entire project. Unless you're adding other things, remember that has to be environment based. I'm going to go back to Unity now, and I need to update all those public references that we created. Okay, so I'm going to show how to do that right now. As soon as these scripts update. Okay, so let's go. Here's our game control here, and we notice we have the scores. We have 25 whole scores that we do need to store here. That's what's going to be being updated in all of those. But it's in our game manager that we have to create our references. So let's start doing this. For the ball, that's going to get us the golf ball controller. That's really easy. Current whole number text. So the current whole number text is this value right here on our UI. So we're going to go into my UI canvas, go into my right panel, and I want the current whole number. Not whole number text, that's this part. So you can click on these to see which one's which. I can focus in. That's whole, that's the number that I want. So go back to the game manager, and I'm going to grab whole number 1, and I'm going to reference that. Current whole shots text. So current whole shots, that's this value, which is right here. That's the strokes text. Sorry, not strokes, total strokes. So we're going to pull that over. We got the whole score text, and this is going to be, I'm going to show you how to update that one after. I'm going to get course total first, which is on our left panel. And there's the total score text. So again, I can press F and zoom in. That's the total score down here. So that's the one I want to reference. Total score text. Drag that onto there. All right, now this one, I need to drag all 25 of these. Okay, now luckily there's an easy way. So on the left panel, I want to access all these score texts. Well, there's a way to do it, and I'll show you how. So I'm going to take the game manager, I'm going to lock it here, okay, because over here, now when I click these, you see the update, the inspector doesn't update, but I'm going to grab all of those. So locking the inspector, now I can drag them all right there on that 0. This saves so much time, because dragging each one of these individually is a nightmare, and they're all in order. So that works great. All right. Now there's only a couple things we need to add to our golf ball controller script, so go and access that here. This was our win hole method. Remember we set this up. We're going to be doing that now. So we only need to add, I think it's just 2 lines of code here and we're done. But first we need to get access to the game manager. So at the bottom here, when you declare all your variables, we're going to do public game manager and reference the game manager like so. Again, make sure you type things the same as me. Okay, and now that we have access to the game manager, we're going to use its update score method in the shoot. So that's when we want to update our strokes. So after shots taken gets increased, we're going to access the game manager and we're going to use that update score method that we already made. Boom, that's ready to go. And then one more line that we need to do is in the win hole script. So that was what we commented here. So I can get rid of this debug.log and that, and we can just go now to the game manager .win hole. Now remember, this requires an integer and shots taken. It knows exactly what I want to do here. And so now I'm going to update that with the shots taken. So I'm going to save that as well. Now let's go back into Unity. We just got to do that last reference for the game manager on our ball controller once it updates here. So click on here and we see I have oh, it's still locked, so unlock the game manager, there we go, and go down here and I have this empty reference, so let's grab that and reference it now. Okay, everything should work now. This should update my strokes, and when I score, it should update. Now, it's going to have an error. It doesn't have a next build index, but we're going to give this a shot and see if it works. All right, so I press play, and here we go. We're going to take our shot. Do I get it in 1? I might need to take 2 here. So it's keeping track of my strokes now. There's 2 strokes, 3 strokes. Okay, let's give this a shot here. Oh, I missed it. Great. Now I'm going to have to reset. Boom, got it. So of course this error kicked on because I currently have no other scenes in the index here. I just have the sample scene currently. But we see that it did update our score here on hole 1 to 6. It did update the total score to 6, and this 6 is being referenced as well. It does have the whole number, which is working great too, and I feel really good about this. I think, let's just double check a couple things. Yep, everything looks really good. I think this is a great time to stop. So that concludes all of our tutorials. Now in class, I'm going to be showing you how to store this all into one folder, so you're going to be able to share it with me so I can build the entire golf course with all of your levels. So I'll be showing that to you in class. Maybe I'll make a tutorial video how to do it as well. But with that being said, I hope your hole is looking great and your design is far more exciting than this simple hole-in-one shot that I have right now. And you are welcome to bring in different skyboxes. You can bring in outside sound effects, so it'd be really nice to have the sound of a shot, okay, as well. Maybe I'll make an additional tutorial how we can get some sound for every shot and wall bounce, and when we score it in the hole, maybe a little crowd cheer or a little golf clap, so to speak. We'll add some fun stuff to make it a little bit more exciting. But other than that, I hope your hole's looking great. And feel free to add any extra environment code or environment mechanics. Just remember, please don't change how the ball mechanic works. So all the scripts that we've created so far, the camera controller, the game control, the game manager, golf ball controller, and so on, please keep all those the same, so for everything to work consistently across this entire project. Well done, and we'll see you next time.